After the Willson Contreras move to first base bombshell yesterday, we've got the latest whispers and rumors concerning the Cardinals and their top starter, Sonny Gray, as well as third baseman Nolan Arenado on today's episode of Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can find me on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio. You can also follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and hit that notification button so you know when the new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So yesterday we got word that Willson Contreras was going to move on down to first base, right? And from what we've gathered and from what's been reported, this was not some ultimatum by management, like some people speculated, like, hey, John Mozeliak didn't call Willson up, and at least from what we know, and say, hi, we're going to try and trade you, and the only way you can stay in St. Louis is if you move to first base. Take it or leave it. I'll hang up and listen. So that's not really what happened. It does not appear that that's how the conversation went between John Mozeliak and Willson Contreras. It sounds to me like they had a discussion about whether or not he wanted to be here during this transition period that the Cardinals are going through. You can call it a reset, call it whatever you want. But if he wanted to stay, then great. Let's find the best way to go about keeping him healthy, keeping him in the lineup more, while also allowing the team the flexibility to let younger players like Ivan Herrera and Pedro Pages get time behind the plate and at the plate. One of them is a much better defender. One of them is a much better hitter. So they want a little bit of each. And they don't not want to use Willson Contreras. And Willson was on board. He made it known to the Cardinals that he wasn't interested in getting traded, wanted to stay and be a part of this franchise and this city moving forward. So they came up with the best solution they could for the situation. It doesn't appear that there was any ill feelings about the move, and that Willson will just tackle it head on and try to be the best first baseman DH that he can be for this team in 2024. And I love that. I absolutely love that. I love that the communication between the front office and Willson Contreras seemed much more clear this time around than what had happened in 2023, where we started hearing these rumblings about him moving to left field, and then it was like, wait, no, that wasn't what we were talking about. It was something other than that. We're not going to send him to left field. We want him behind the plate, but we want him to take a step. Like, there was all this, just going on, right, between the two parties. And Willson never spoke up and said anything bad about it. Like, he went with the team and was like, all right, I'm cool, and we'll do this, and I'll work on this, and I'll try to get better. And I think he did get better. I think he was a much better catcher moving forward. But now things have changed. That's just the simple truth about it. Things have changed, and they needed a different solution, and they needed some help with what they're doing here, with trying to stay younger, but also not trying to rebuild completely, right? This isn't a tear down, is what we're being told. Like, they're not trying to blow this whole thing up. These are some of the quotes that, I heard. That these aren't verbatim from John Mozeliak, but these are the things that you're reading, is that that's not the goal. The goal is not to destroy this roster and become some horrible team to, and not to pick on the White Sox, but to not look like the White Sox or to look like a team like the Marlins did last year, or any of these bottom feeder teams that weren't going to compete whatsoever. They're not trying to do that. At least that's what they're telling us, that they are trying not to do that. But I love the fact that Willson Contreras wants to be around. But what about the rest of the high-priced veterans with no trade clauses, like Sonny Gray, Nolan Arenado, Miles Mikolas? Well, according to Katie Wu at The Athletic, Mozeliak has had discussions with those players, explain to them the situation, what's going on with the Cardinals, and if a player wanted to stay through this transition, the Cardinals would welcome that. If not, the team would work with the player to find an agreeable trade. Willie is in. We know this. And at least one other veteran is on board with the Cardinals' reset plan. Per multiple league sources, that veteran is Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray apparently is not interested in moving on as well. Has told John Mozeliak he'd prefer to stay with St. Louis. Now, this does not surprise me whatsoever. Not even in the slightest, because Sonny had offers to go to other places during his free agency last year, and he wanted to be in St. Louis. His family wanted to be in St. Louis. He clearly loves the history and the tradition of the St. Louis Cardinals franchise. So it makes sense that after 1 year, he's not ready to pack up and move again. Now, if things go bad this year, maybe he changes his mind. But again, I love that he and Willie have decided to stay. They want to be here. Young players need veteran guidance, and I'm more than happy to see them learn from these guys moving forward. Now, Katie continues saying that the futures of Nolan Arenado and Miles Mikolas, that those are unknown, though trading either player is no guarantee. Not only will their full no-trade clauses complicate any potential transaction, but both players are also going to have big salaries that could deter teams. Arenado is due $52 million over the next 3 years, though some of that money is deferred. Miles Mikolas is in the final year of his deal. He's going to make $17.6 million this year. One of them has apparently asked Mo to explore a few things. So we're going to discuss who we think that is next on Locked On Cardinals. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Now, for most of us that like collecting cards, the idea of spending, like $2,000 on a Luka Doncic or an Ellie De La Cruz or a Patrick Mahomes rookie card, just not in the cards altogether, right? It's out of the question. You're not going to spend that much money. Now, I love collecting as much as anybody, but that's some serious money to drop, and not all of us have that. You got the holidays coming up, man. We're trying to save money right now. We're not trying to blow it all on something. And thanks to slab packs from arenaclub.com, now it's possible to score gem mints for a fraction of their retail price. Every card that I listed was hit from last week's Arena Club slap pack drop. Arena Club is the only repack that actually provides real value, gives you a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. So after your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your showroom for safekeeping. You can, for selling, for trading, for auction, whatever you decide you want to do with them. The Arena Club grading process is accurate. It's fast and transparent with the full grade rationale provided and explanation of how your card got scored. Whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform that you got to check out if you haven't already. Right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code LockedOnMLB. That's arenaclub.com/LockedOnMLB, code LockedOnMLB for 10% off your first purchase. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. You can leave comments on YouTube as well as on Twitter X anytime you want. Your feedback is always welcome and encouraged. Now that we believe that we know that both Contreras and Sonny Gray want to stay, what about Nolan Arenado and Mikolas, the other two high-priced veterans with no trade clauses? Sure, there's other tradable guys. Steven Matz is a tradable guy. Ryan Helsley's going to get some attention. I'm sure there's some other guys that are on the roster that people are going to call about. But Arenado and Mikolas making a lot of money, no trade clauses. That's what we're focusing on today. It wouldn't shock me if both of them were willing to go elsewhere. Not at all. Just because of the type of competitors those guys had been in a Cardinal uniform. Same can be said about Willie and Sonny. Like, it wouldn't have shocked me if they were like, you know what? I get it. I'll go somewhere else where, I'll help you guys out by getting out of your hair, taking my money elsewhere, taking my talents elsewhere. But at the same time, I get to go play for a winner or something like that because they have no trade clauses. They can decide where they want to go. If I'm an opposing team, I would certainly be more interested in Nolan Arenado than I would in Miles Mikolas. And, if I'm a team and I feel like I'm one guy away from completing my championship puzzle, and either of these guys is the answer, I don't know why I wouldn't pull the trigger on something. Mikolas is just the 1 year left, so it's a one-and-done situation if you get Miles Mikolas into your rotation. Nolan, a little more complicated with the years and the money, but it's Nolan freaking Arenado, man. Mo mentioned recently that he had an individual ask him to explore a few things. So said that he was going to try to do that, said he'd prefer to not name that player for leverage in terms of trying to do something with him in a trade. Now, if you had to guess who that player was, I think a lot of us are leaning towards believing it's Nolan Arenado, that we think that makes the most sense, that he would be the one that would be like, yeah, I kind of, I kind of get it, and I don't really want to be here anymore. The reason for me is that Miles has 1 year left before free agency. And if I'm him, I would rather move just once, just one time during that period, rather than get traded, pack up and move, then have to do it again when the season ends if he doesn't stick with the club that he got dealt to. As far as Nolan goes, I still believe that Nolan Arenado has plenty of good baseball left in him. I don't think he's cooked. I don't think he's toast. I don't really want to trade him in the first place, but at the same time, I get the business side of this. He makes a ton of money at a position where the Cardinals have got some less expensive options available to them. We've talked about it. Nolan Gorman, Thomas Ajacci, Brendan Donovan. If need be, Jordan Walker. That's where he came up, is over at third base. You've got a Cesar Prieto coming up through the minor leagues. There's some options there that you're not, Jose Fermin can play some third base if you need to. But you're not like where like you don't have anybody, like where you're just screwed. So you've got that as a plus for the Cardinals of why you would be okay with dealing Nolan Arenado, cutting the money. You've got a backup plan. And as far as now Nolan Arenado goes, he wants to win a championship. He does. It burns him that he has not been able to succeed in Colorado or with the Cardinals to get even close to a World Series. Like, I'm sure it's driving him nuts. It was the whole reason why he wanted to come to St. Louis in the first place, is because the Cardinals normally compete for postseason. They're usually there. And here we are, 2 years in a row, they haven't made the postseason. And the simple truth is there are plenty of other teams out there that are closer to winning a championship than the Cardinals are after missing the postseason the last 2 years. So in my opinion, if Nolan Arenado does get traded, then he needs to go somewhere. And this is with Nolan's best interest. he needs to go somewhere where he's not the guy. So he needs to go someplace, obviously a big market, who can take on the money. So Dodgers, Astros, Phillies, Yankees, Boston, Mets, whoever. They need to be able to obviously absorb the salary, are a contender right now because that's what he wants to do. And it's got to be a place that I think he just needs to be able to slide into the lineup. Like, he doesn't need to be the 3, 4, or 5 guy. Maybe he ends up being one of those guys, but he, at this point in his career, I don't think should be expected to carry a team like we thought he was going to be able to do here. Like, we thought him and Goldie were going to be fine to be able to at least do it one more year together, and it blew up in our faces. It just didn't work out. And I think that's what he needs. He needs to go to a team that's loaded with at least 2 other guys, if not 3. The Dodgers make a lot of sense, right? But to take the burden off him, because it weighs on him, and you can see it when he was with the Cardinals. You could just see how much it upset him that he was not coming through, and he knew everybody was depending on him, and it was driving him crazy. Of course, Nato has to approve whatever team wants him. So in the end, if it's not somewhere he wants to go, he doesn't have to. But my guess is there'll be some teams, some good teams too, in good cities and in a good place that are ready to compete for a title. They would love to have them, a Nolan Arenado, on their team. And the fact that John Mozeliak is saying, like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to ruin any leverage here, makes it sound like they're not just going to give him away just to be like a salary dump. They're hoping to get something good in return for any of these guys that they trade. It's not just, we gotta get rid of these guys, man. We don't care who wants them. Somebody give me something. It's not that type of situation. It's like, dude, we want to make a good baseball trade for our franchise. And we realize the power that Nolan Arenado is worth and what he could do for another franchise if he gets to, if he gets moved and gets to be a part of somebody else. So, and I think that's good because I when I was talking with Thomas the other day and he's talking about A-ball guys, and I'm like, oh God, please, no, don't tell me that we're shipping Ryan Helsley and we're shipping a Nolan Arenado for A-ball players. No, like, it's got to be better than that, doesn't it? At least I hope so. Anyway, give me your thoughts on what you think if it's Nolan Arenado you think is the guy that Mo was talking about. Do you like how they're going about this? Does it make sense? Are you happy that Willie and Sonny up here to want to stay in St. Louis and be a part of this franchise still? The other big news today was the deal with FanDuel Sports Network. So we'll get to the latest on what's going on with that next on Locked On Cardinals. There's not a whole lot of things, at least in my opinion, better than going to a live sporting event, whether it's basketball, whether it's hockey, football, of course, baseball, duh. And with the Gametime app, you're going to be able to find tickets to all of your favorite sporting events, whether it is going to see the St. Louis Blues, to go see college basketball, SLU, Mizzou football still going, Southern Illinois basketball. What about the St. Louis Ambush? Go see some soccer. They even have tickets for All Elite Wrestling, which is coming up in December. Killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. My goodness, Gametime makes things so simple for you. You can also sell, obviously, on the app as well. If you can't make an event, Gametime, boom, put your tickets on there. You can sell them there. But they're going to get you to all your favorite sporting events, but it's not just that. It's concerts, it's comedy, it's theater. Pretty much anything that's got a ticket and you want to go to it, they've got you covered. Well, it was like some bull riding or something I saw on there. So flash deals, all in pricing, lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit 110% of the difference. Do it. Download the Gametime app. Create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Use the redeem the code, which is LOCKEDONMLB. That's Locked On MLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5. That's it, $5, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Nice little trade there. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, and it's all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you're not fumbling around on the app trying to find where you got to do the stuff. You can check out the latest stats, the view, the live play-by-play. They got that for you and so much more right there on the same page where you place your bets. Thursday Night Football tonight. It should be a good one. The Bengals are in Baltimore taking on the Ravens. Joe Burrow has been on fire this year. He's in the MVP chatter. Lamar Jackson is your reigning MVP, having a heck of a season. Obviously, the big man behind him, Derrick Henry, leads the league in rushing. He's been huge. Should be a fun matchup tonight. A lot of different ways to win some money. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings a daily blend of humor and baseball, keeping you updated on all the teams during this offseason, the big ones, the little ones. What's going on with Juan Soto? Where's he going to go? Where's Blake Snell going? Corbin Burns, all these huge free agents who are going to make huge money. Sully's got an opinion on all of it, and you should check it out. Find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. So the Cardinals TV and ticket revenue situation, which we know is a big problem, right? Nobody knew what was going to happen. Where's this extra money going to come from that we were supposed to get? Now we're not going to get. What are we going to do? We're freaking out. We got to trade everybody. Well, reportedly, this has been resolved, which is probably a big weight off a lot of people's minds and shoulders as the offseason begins. According to multiple reports, the Cardinals announced a multi-year renewal with Diamond Sports Group regarding their local television rights. FanDuel Sports Network Midwest will remain the home for Cardinals regional broadcasts. The deal replaces the 15-year, $1.1 billion deal before the Cardinals and their broadcast partner reached that agreement's midpoint. Now, for the first time, this is something new. Pay attention. Direct-to-consumer streaming will also be available for a fee. Subscribers to FanDuel Sports Network who live in the network's designated Cardinals territory can stream Cardinals games through the network's app. Pricing for the subscription will be announced at a later date, but the Blues currently offer the same option, and it's $20 a month. For outer markets and fans who use MLB TV to watch Cardinals games, your access will not change whatsoever. Okay? The production, it's going to appear the exact same. No reason to freak out. No reason to panic. You're good to go. Rework television deal secures at least some of the revenue the Cardinals were concerned about. You know, they were like, we don't know. We're supposed to get this, and we don't know if it's coming or not anymore. Financial terms of this deal were not disclosed, but according to the Sports Business Journal, team president Bill DeWitt III estimated the rights fee deduction a little bit north of 20%. Now, a source with knowledge on the deal told the Post-Dispatch that the Cardinals took a 23% reduction from their expected payment. The team was expecting around $70 million in rights fees for the coming regular season. The cut from that is going to be $17.3 million that they won't be receiving. Does that make sense? So they're supposed to get 75. They're going to take 23% reduction, which means you subtract 17.3 from the 75. Okay? That's where they're at. The Post-Dispatch also reports that it's not a decade-long deal like previous broadcast agreements, and an official described how there are options built into the new contract that will give the Cardinals some direction if Diamond Sports Group continues to experience financial turbulence or does not emerge from ongoing bankruptcy hearings. Now, the Athletics got this covered. STLtoday.com has got it covered, and you can read even more into all of this. But Bill DeWitt is quoted as saying this definitely is great news for fans, particularly those who have cut the cord or have been dropped from their cable provider, or those who have just experienced blackouts that keep them from Cardinals baseball. This is going to increase access and availability, particularly in markets where fans have been unable to get the games that they want. So that's good news. Cardinal fans will now get the product they want. It's going to be more readily available. Got the fees and stuff that are going to be a part of things. But if you want something, you go out, you get it, right? I mean, I still remember as a kid, as a wee little JD, and I remember we had the Cardinal Network, and it was 50 home games or something like that, and you had to pay for it. And I forget what my parents paid, but such huge fans. The whole family would come over. We watch the games together and stuff. It was really, really cool. And we were like, whatever. We want to watch it. So we're going to end up paying. So I would imagine Cardinal fans, not many of them are going to balk at this if that's indeed what they want. You want to see your team? I'm sure you'll be willing to pay a couple of bucks a month to make that happen. Now, it does not mean that they are going to reverse the whole plan here to cut costs and try to build a younger, more cost-efficient team. That is still the process moving forward. That's not going to stop, but at least we're not completely in the dark about what's going to go on with those TV fees that they were hoping to get, the rights fees and stuff. So at least we got some clarity on what's going on there. So that is the news. It's been a busy couple of days with the Cardinals, which is good because the offseason can be a little bit dull, especially if you're not chasing down after free agents and stuff. So good to report what I think is mostly good news. Not a lot of bad news. Not as bad as we thought it was going to be. I'm excited that Willie and Sonny want to stick around. I'm excited to see what they do if Nolan Arenado is the guy that is willing to be moved. I'm curious to see what they can do there. I think it opens up a lot of possibilities. Clearly, it opens up a lot of money if he is the guy that gets traded away. So, we're in flux right now, and this will be something that will probably be talked about between now and the winter meetings. Like, there's not going to be that's not going to happen tomorrow, that there's going to be some massive trade. At least I don't think so. But at least we're starting to get some clarity of what's going on with the Cardinals. So thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on Twitter, X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. We're making that push for 11,000 subscribers. We're less than 100 away right now. So if you're somebody who enjoys this content and you come here for your Cardinals news and you're not put off by the way I explain things to you, then please like and subscribe on YouTube and help our channel grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason, and we will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.